Hey everyone, welcome back to Play with Ray and to Skip or Buy, here is why. And today we're diving into Kingdom Come Deliverance Part 2. Stick around cause we're breaking down the game. And there's one huge criticism we will address in this review. And that is that the learning curve in the game is tough. You might have heard this one before, but is it actually true? Is it too tough? Or does it add to the experience? So let's figure this out together, and don't forget to hit up the comments with your thoughts. What do you think about it? So what is Kingdom Come Deliverance II all about? The game builds on its original, with a bigger, more dynamic world filled with new cities, new villages and untamed wilderness to explore. And having played the game, I feel that the combat system is more or less the same, albeit more refined. It offers smoother animations, better hit detection, and there are new weapon techniques that make each fight more intense and more rewarding. Also, the game's AI has seen major improvements, with NPCs now reacting more dynamically to player actions, which does help to make the world feel even more immersive. Players now also have more ways to develop their character, thanks to expanded skill trees and new professions like advanced blacksmithing and alchemy. And side quests and activities are more varied, bringing unique experiences that make the world feel even more alive. I feel that these enhancements refine the original and it addresses some of the past criticisms. But in all honesty, it builds too much on the predecessor and it doesn't offer anything really new. And now let's talk a bit about the number one criticism about this game, and that's the complexity. There is a very steep learning curve, and it might be too much for casual gamers. And honestly, after playing this game for a while, I can totally see where that's coming from. The combat system is very intense and somewhat cumbersome. It's not like the typical hack and slash. You've got to manage your stamina, know when to block, when to strike, and you have to time it all right. What it does for you is that it gives you a very realistic feel, but this could also prove to be its downfall. Because if you don't have the patience to learn the system, you'll end up getting frustrated, especially if you're used to more action-heavy immediate combat. And then we have the whole survival element, which is really intense and complicated. You're not just fighting, you've got to eat, sleep, manage your inventory and even your horse's health. So yeah, that really sounds like a lot to do. And that's the thing, it's immersive as hell, but it also requires you to keep up with all these systems if you don't want to get stuck. So if you're expecting a game where you can just jump in and start swinging swords without thinking too much, this one might make you want to bail out early.
Dragging you apart was great fun. You were shit-faced, he was foaming at the mouth, and she was screaming like mad.
I was watching from the table, and I have to say, Henry, you dodged him pretty well.
He doesn't go down easy.
Ha! I've got nothing to regret. The whole world turns around wenches. Ain't that right, Henry?
Hmm?
You never gave us the goods on that lass of yours. What was her name now?
Teresa. She lived with that crook Peshek at the mill.
And she saved my life.
Now, I'm not here to just dump on the game, because here's where Kingdom Come really shines, and that's the combat system. If you're willing to put down the time and make an effort to learn the system, it's incredibly rewarding. It's not some button mashing nonsense. It's very tactical and makes every fight feel like a very personal experience. You're really in the moment, focusing on positioning, your opponent's moves, and making sure you don't overexert yourself. And I really have to say, when you nail a parry and follow it up with a counter-attack, it feels amazing. And another thing I really like is the world building, which is next level. The world feels lived in, and there is so much eye to detail. From the way NPCs go about their daily business, to the way quests unfold, it's all tied together in a way that makes you feel like part of this medieval society. I really feel that if you like deep, immersive games where everything has its place, you're gonna get hooked. But I do feel, since there's so much going on in this game, that some things really break down the gameplay. For one, there are the menus, which are overwhelming, and then we have the inventory system, which is too clunky. You spend as much time navigating your gear as you do in actual combat. And let's face it, when you're trying to manage a battle, figuring out whether your sword's broken or your food spoiled is the last thing you want to deal with. And don't get me started about the fast travel system. You think you have unlocked a spot to quickly get to, only to realize that the system restricts you. I do feel that having to think ahead and planning out your moves works great for immersion, but it can feel like a chore for some players.
Do something. Stay down, for fuck's sake.
Okay, having talked about the new features in this game, the #1 criticism, and the stuff that stands out in a positive sense, plus the stuff that doesn't work well, it's now time to answer the question whether to skip or buy this game. And the first reason to skip this game is for me personally the most obvious one, and that's the steep learning curve. As we talked about earlier in the criticism, if you don't have the time or patience to learn the systems, you'll be frustrated before you even get a few hours in. And then we have the performance issues. The system requirements for this game are quite steep. And sure, the game looks the part, it's really gorgeous, but the game can and will struggle on lower end hardware, especially in dense areas. And next to having a steep learning curve, this game is just too complex. The management of hunger, sleep and your horse's health can feel like a bit much. And I can imagine that if you're a player who just wants to jump in and have fun right away, this will not be the game you'll be looking for. And then we have the pacing of the game. The story unfolds itself very slowly. For some this might be one of the charms of the game, but for people who like to keep on moving and having some pace to their gameplay, this all might feel a bit sluggish. And now let's talk about reasons why you should buy this game. The combat system, once you get the hang of it, is very rewarding. It's tactical and realistic, and there's nothing like pulling off a perfect strike. And then we have the deep immersion. The world is rich and detailed. Every corner of this medieval world feels authentic, from the towns to the countryside. And another thing which elevates that even more is the rich storytelling. The main quest is engaging, and the side quests are not just filler. They feel meaningful. And one thing you can certainly say about this game is that it's challenging. If you're tired of hand-holding in games, this one's for you. It makes you earn your victories. So there you have it, my thoughts about Kingdom Come Part 2. And sure, the criticism, if you want to call it like that, holds true. The game's learning curve is tough. I mean, the critic only applies if you're more into casual gaming, or you just don't have the time to learn all its systems. Then you might want to give this one a pass. But if you're someone who enjoys a game that doesn't hand you everything on a silver plate and rewards you for sticking with it, then this is a definite buy. Okay, please let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you ready to dive into this game? Or is the learning curve too much for you? Please also consider to subscribe and help my channel out. See ya!